Picture this, a gripping documentary designed to offer an unfiltered glimpse into the brutal realities of surviving in a war-torn Gaza, only for it to be yanked off the airwaves due to undisclosed family ties that might have colored the entire narrative. It's a scandal that's rocked the British broadcasting world and left viewers questioning the very foundations of trust in media. But here's where it gets controversial. Was this a simple oversight, or something far more deliberate that challenges how we perceive objective storytelling? Let's dive into the details and unpack what happened, step by step, to understand the ripples this has created. The UK's media watchdog, Ofcom, recently concluded an in-depth investigation into the BBC's documentary titled Gaza, How to Survive a War Zone. Their verdict? The program violated key broadcasting standards by being materially misleading to its viewers. This isn't just a minor technicality. Ofcom labeled it a serious breach of their rules, and they've insisted the BBC must air a live on-air statement to address the findings once the details are finalized. For those new to media regulations, think of it like this. Broadcasters are held to a code of conduct that demands transparency, much like how a doctor must inform patients of potential biases in a treatment plan to ensure informed decisions. The drama erupted back in February when revelations surfaced about one of the young participants, a 13-year-old boy named Abdullah al-Yazuri, who serves as the film's narrator. It turned out his father holds the position of Deputy Minister of Agriculture in the Hamas-run administration. The BBC swiftly removed the documentary from its streaming platform, BBC iPlayer, and issued a heartfelt apology for what they described as unacceptable flaws in how the show was presented. This move underscores a critical point. In sensitive topics like the Israel-Gaza conflict, every detail matters, and omitting such a connection could lead audiences to form opinions based on incomplete facts. Ofcom's statement was clear and pointed. The failure to reveal the narrator's family background meant viewers were deprived of crucial context that could have influenced how they interpreted the boy's testimony and the documentary's overall message. It meant that the audience did not have critical information, which may have been highly relevant to their assessment of the narrator and the information he provided, they explained. And this is the part most people miss. Trust forms the bedrock of the bond between a broadcaster and its public, especially for a revered public service entity like the BBC. By not disclosing this, the documentary risked undermining the faith audiences place in factual programming about such a divisive and emotionally charged topic as the Israel-Gaza war. Imagine watching a survival guide where the guide's family ties to a warring faction aren't mentioned. It could make the whole experience feel like a puzzle with missing pieces. Adding another layer to this saga, the BBC commissioned its own independent review, led by Peter Johnston, who isn't affiliated with BBC News or Current Affairs. Released in July, this thorough examination poured over 5,000 documents spanning a 10-month production period, plus 150 hours of raw footage. Johnston's report aligned with Ofcom's, confirming a breach of accuracy guidelines related to misleading viewers. While it didn't accuse the production company, Hoyo Films, of deliberately deceiving the BBC about the father's role, it placed the lion's share of responsibility on them for this lapse. The BBC, however, wasn't let off the hook entirely. The review noted they played a partial role, though no other rules were broken. This dual scrutiny highlights how complex production processes can be, involving multiple stakeholders, and how even unintentional errors can have huge repercussions in high-stakes journalism. The BBC's response was swift and conciliatory. A spokesperson told The Hollywood Reporter that the Ofcom decision mirrors Johnston's findings on a significant failing regarding the BBC's editorial guidelines on accuracy, which ties directly to Rule 2.2 of Ofcom's broadcasting code. "We have apologized for this, and we accept Ofcom's decision in full," "We will comply with the sanction as soon as the date and wording are finalized," they stated. Meanwhile, BBC Director General Tim Davie emphasized in July that actions are underway on two fronts: ensuring accountability through fair measures and rolling out immediate safeguards to avoid such mistakes. These include intensified vetting of narrators in current affairs shows and deeper background checks on independent producers. Notably, the BBC has decided not to collaborate with Hoyo Films again. But here's where it gets controversial. The fallout didn't stop at official apologies. The documentary sparked a passionate backlash from some of the entertainment industry's heavyweights. Soccer legend Gary Lineker, alongside actors Riz Ahmed and Khalid Abdallah, comedian Miriam Margolyes, and acclaimed director Mike Leigh were among hundreds who signed an open letter urging the BBC to restore the film to iPlayer. Their plea centered on the human element. Beneath this political football are children who are in the most dire circumstances of their young lives, they wrote. This is what must remain at the heart of this discussion. As program makers, we are extremely alarmed by the intervention of partisan political actors on this issue, and what this means for the future of broadcasting in this country. It's a bold stance that subtly suggests the removal might be influenced by political pressures, potentially stifling voices from conflict zones. Is this a genuine call to protect vulnerable kids, or a veiled accusation of censorship? And could it be that the celebrity's interpretation overlooks the ethical tightrope of journalistic integrity? In the end, this incident raises bigger questions about balance in media. How do we weigh the need for full disclosure against the desire to amplify underrepresented stories? Should documentaries prioritize neutrality over raw, personal narratives? What if, as some might argue, not revealing the father's position was an honest error rather than a conspiracy to bias the content? Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you side with Ofcom's strict standards, or do you agree with the letter's focus on the children? Let's discuss. Could this set a precedent for how future Warzone documentaries are handled? Or is it just a one-off blunder in an otherwise reliable system?